What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yo, this is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Appreciate you guys for being here. You guys know the vibes. You guys know the energy. You guys know how I give it up. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show, especially if you're new. I always appreciate newcomers, new viewers, new subscribers. I love new people watching the content, finding the show, because that just means that we're growing, right? So make sure you guys are on the right side of history. Make sure you guys smash that like button and are subscribed to the content, especially if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, if you like the energy, if you like the vibes, if you like how I'm giving it up. Make sure you guys lock in. Also, want to remind you guys, you not only can view this program on YouTube, right? You can also watch this program back on Spotify. You can also watch it on Apple Podcasts, right? Now, here's the thing, though. The live streams are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, right? You can only watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But then when the live stream ends, the recording will be uploaded to Apple Podcast and will also be uploaded to Spotify as well. So you can watch the show back. Maybe you can't watch me live. A lot of people don't watch the show live. A lot of people watch it on their own time. Some people are truck drivers. You know, some people spend a lot of their time in the car when they're working. So I just want to make sure I'm serving a lot of different people. You never know. So I appreciate y'all for locking in on the content. And I appreciate the support. Once again, we are available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. All right. Let's get to the content, y'all. You know what to do. Kick your feet up, get comfortable, smash that like button. You know what to do. Let's get into it. Your Philadelphia Eagles made a roster move today that, I don't know, maybe some of us saw it coming. Maybe some of us didn't, but we knew something was off. That's the one thing that was consistent throughout the whole process. And the Philadelphia Eagles are always going to remain to be the gift that keeps on giving. The Philadelphia Eagles decided to move on from Devin White. Now, this situation is very interesting because the Eagles signed Devin White. They signed Devin White over the course of the offseason. He was amongst that group of signings that included, Zach Bond, Paris Campbell, Devontae Parker, the list goes on. The Eagles kind of went on like a free agent spree, just picking up, cheap signings, low risk, high reward signings. And Devin White was a part of that process. Now, throughout the offseason, throughout mandatory mini camp and training camp and things of that nature, the preseason even, Devin White was or at least we thought, he was the leading linebacker. He took all the first team reps. He spent more time on the field as a first teamer than Nakobe Dean did throughout the offseason. And we thought he especially had the job locked down when he wasn't really playing too many preseason snaps. I mean, he played some in that first preseason game, maybe some in the second, but Devin White didn't really play as many preseason snaps as Nakobe Dean did. So typically, historically, when you see something like that, the trends indicate that that player is going to be a starter. He's a player you value. You want to protect him. But the season starts and Devin White doesn't make the trip to Brazil. And we thought it was because of his ankle injury. It came down on the docket that Devin White was dealing with the ankle injury, so he will be sitting out week 1. Therefore, we will be seeing Nakobe Dean start. And I know our expectations have been very up and down when it comes to Nakobe Dean. Some of us have been very critical of Nakobe Dean. Some of us have been very passive when it comes to Nakobe Dean. Regardless, though, Nakobe Dean was the starter for week 1, mainly because we thought the injury kept Devin White out. And then on top of the injury, there was a report that Nakobe Dean was always supposed to be the starter. And that threw us all for a loop. That was the most confusing part about all of this, because we said to ourselves, hold on, the trends, every decision you've made up until this point indicated that Devin White was the starter. Since when did you guys have this epiphany or this come to Jesus moment and say to yourselves, okay, Nakobe Dean is the starter now? So that was a situation that was wonky in and of itself, and it confused us. So from that point forward, we saw Nakobe Dean as the starting Mike linebacker playing next to Zach Bond. And him and Zach Bond, if I had to give them a grade for how they played together on the season, I would probably give Zach Bond a B plus for how he's played throughout this season. I'd probably give Nakobe Dean maybe a C plus, maybe a B minus. That Buccaneers game was really bad for Nakobe Dean. Prior to that, I felt like Nakobe has been pretty solid. But that Buccaneers game just kind of reminded us of his limitations, and he missed the most tackles in that game as well. So he doesn't really have his stock isn't going up right now. Nakobe Dean, if anything, his stock has plateaued because of that Buccaneers game. But nonetheless, that the Nakobe Dean Zach Bond combo was decent. To be fair, to be modest about it, I think all of us felt like sure they can improve, they can play better, but we were all fairly shocked by Zach Bond's contributions. And we were even mildly pleased with Nakobe Dean's contributions. So we kind of thought to ourselves, okay, all right, maybe they got the right guy on the football field. But then to take it a step further, we thought to ourselves, hold on, wait. It's one thing for Nakobe Dean to have won the job and taken it from Devin White, but Devin White is a healthy scratch, not just for week 2, but week 3 and week 4. Week 4, where he has an opportunity to go up against his former team and get some kind of revenge, a game that you know for a fact he would be motivated to play in. You may get the best version of him in that game, and you still don't play him. As a matter of fact, he's a healthy scratch. Like I said, that was the most confusing thing about the Devin White saga, right? Not just the fact that he lost the job all of a sudden, but now he's a healthy scratch. You mean to tell me you couldn't find any value for him? Now, word is that he's a guy that refused to play special teams. He felt like, look, I deserve to be on that football field. I deserve to play defense. I'm not a special teamer. And when you don't play ball like that, when you're not flexible in that regard, a team doesn't see the value for you anymore. I mean, they gave him a 1-year deal, $4 million. The Eagles can sneeze that away. But again, it's just one of those situations where you're left confused. You're left confused. I don't understand why bring in the player, why string the player along. What went wrong between Devin White and this team? Or Vic Fangio, or Harry Roseman, or Bobby King or Jeremiah. What went wrong between Nakobe? What went wrong between Devin White and this coaching staff? That's the question that we might not get an answer to, but clearly there was a differencing of opinion. Nonetheless, now your linebackers are Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Oren Burks, Ben Van Sumeren. No more Devin White. That's done. So, it was a signing that we all were intrigued with. We were excited about. We felt like it was a low risk, high reward signing. I think we all agreed with that. If you get something out of it, cool. If you don't, hey, 1 year, $4 million. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. I have a hard time figuring out where they're going personnel wise with this team. What are you making room for? It all remains to be seen. I don't know. Are you that high on Ben Van Sumeren? Are you higher on Jeremiah Trotter Jr. than Devin White right now? You drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., so that may be something, but I mean, we didn't even get a chance to see him play. He wasn't even given a chance on the football field. That's alarming to me. I don't know what to make of that. That's frustrating. I would have loved to have seen at least seen what he can do with this team. Especially saw what we saw from Nakobe Dean in the Buccaneers game. I don't know. It's something that we're going to continue to monitor. It's something that still gives me cause to pause. But at this point, it is what it is. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. Let me get some of y'all opinions on this thing. So Mob says, shaking my head. Kyrie Gary says, I can't believe they released Devin White. Nakobe Dean has not played that well. Thus, this better not be Howie forcing Fangio to play Dean because he's a draft pick. I think White is a better player than Dean. The sad thing is, we'll never know. We'll never know because we didn't see him play on this football field or on this football team. We didn't get a chance to. So we won't even really be able to make that determination. That's what's more frustrating about it to me, right? That we were robbed of that experience. We were robbed of that perspective. Now we're going to always wonder what if. That's the frustrating part for me. That's the frustrating part for me. And look, he wasn't my man Ace Boogie posted here. He says Devin White didn't look that good in preseason though. I think that's the reason. I mean, nobody was spectacular, but there were people who gave you flashes. To your point, Ace Boogie, Devin White didn't really jump off the screen in preseason either. So you're kind of right. He didn't really flash. Nakobe Dean flashed more than him in the preseason, but they gave Nakobe Dean a lot of the snaps. So Chaotic Green says Devin White was released to make space for Sidney Brown or Bradbury. Well, I know it ain't Bradbury because he's still dealing with that injury. It's not Bradbury. Maybe Sidney Brown. It could be that. It could be Sidney Brown. That's a higher possibility. Brian Stetcher, what's going on, my friend? He says Buccaneers got rid of Devin White for a reason. Yeah, but we also signed him. So we still have to ask the question, why was he released? What was it that he wasn't showing you? What was it that was so egregious? Infamous says, shout out to my man Infamous. He says, Tone, if y'all lose to the Browns, you won't hear the end of it from me. Bro, if we lose to the Browns, you won't hear the end of it from me. What you mean? You're not going to hear the end of it from me. Mr. Ralph Lauren, what's going on? He said, oh, well, no. He'll be picked up and find himself on the field. Well, that part too. That part, right? If we see him making plays for another team, then we'll find out for sure. Good point, Ralph Lauren. Good point. Welly Wells says they released Devin White before Huff. Well, you got a lot more money tied up in Devin White. I mean in Bryce Huff. You got a lot more money tied up in Bryce Huff. That's not such a simple cut. So that's that. Mod X Mike, what's going on? He says, I can't understand what the F these guys are doing. At least give the guy a chance to play. I would have loved to have seen him play at least. I would have loved to have seen him do something for you. At least put him on the field so I can say without a doubt, okay, he's bad, right? Let him do something stupid before you fire him. But again, they clearly know something we don't. We're not gonna get to the bottom of it unless the player speaks on it on like a podcast or something, or he does a tell-all with some whatever reporter. You never know. Ray Lester says Devin White was only one of 3 Eagles that had a ring. Now we're down to 2. I mean, he didn't get that ring with us, so I don't really care about that. But if you're talking about just having that experience and being able to carry that with you, yeah, I guess there's some value in that for sure. There's some value in that. Green Wingman. He says, I can only go by his time with the Bucks. Man was a Super Bowl player to not. Man went from being a Super Bowl player to not playing in his last years in the playoffs. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was strange. The fall for Devin White. It's something that requires studying. I'll tell you that much. Theodore Nicholas says another Howie Blowsman move. Devin White. Well, here's the thing, man. We knew Howie likely would go cheap at linebacker, and I always respect the swing. Right? I always respect a GM or whoever is a decision maker. I always respect you taking a risk. But here's the part about it, right? We didn't really get to see the risk really take shape. It was almost like he got out of the casino before the numbers came off the board. You know what I mean? Like it was almost like we didn't get the opportunity to see the bet fall through or not. But I guess one could argue it's a failed bet if you pulled out before you found out what the result was. Ace Boogie says, I thought Howie was going to package him and Rodgers for an edge rusher. You guys talked about that a lot. Let's see. My man Infamous says, we still accepting Commanders fan applications if you want to watch some good football. Hey, listen, man, be humble, man. Just as quickly as you get it, it can be snatched away from you. Be humble. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Be humble. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Can somebody time out these weirdos? Somebody time out these weirdos, man. All right, let me get to the first super chat. My man Oz with the $1.99 super chat. He says Robert Saleh to help our defense. No. I've seen one too many tweets about Robert Saleh potentially helping the Eagles defense. No. Stop doing that, you guys. We need this. We need to see the result pan out. It's just that simple. Just because something is rough right now, you don't pull the ripcord and just say, I'm abandoning ship. This is what went wrong last year. We didn't rock out with who we had, and we made the situation worse. Didn't we learn from last year? Did we not learn from last year? I'm not saying Sean Desai was perfect. I'm not saying he was even good at his job. But to overcorrect us, talk about making the situation already a bad situation worse. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. I've seen one too many tweets about, oh yeah, the Eagles should consider consulting with Robert Saleh or bringing Robert Saleh in to help the defense. Well, then why'd you bring in Vic Fangio? That would be a clear case of undermining your previous signing. Once again, live in the courage of your convictions. Can't keep erasing stuff if you feel like you made a mistake. Eventually, the paper going rip. Like this is not a video game where you just plug and play and just, hey, fire this guy, hire this guy. It's not no damn video game, y'all. Come on, man. Come on. All right. Let me tackle this Robert Saleh situation too, because that's something I want to talk about with you guys. Because I think it correlates to the Philadelphia Eagles situation. But before I do so, just want to give you guys a quick injury report update. So AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Lane Johnson, they are expected to be back for the Week 6 matchup against the Cleveland Browns. They are expected to be back, and the Eagles desperately need all three of those guys back for sure. Fred Johnson didn't really have a good game against the Buccaneers, and obviously, without AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Lane Johnson, the offense just doesn't flow the same. It's the reality. The offense doesn't flow the same. Um, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the same level of trust or chemistry with the other guys out there. So we need AJ Brown and Devontae Smith back ASAP. And then on top of that, Sidney Brown and Anaya Smith, their practice windows have been officially activated. They're no longer on the PUP list. So the Eagles now have, I believe, 3 weeks. They have 21 days to decide whether or not they're going to activate those gentlemen to the active roster. Otherwise, if they don't, they're going to have to be out for the remainder of the season. Now, obviously, the Eagles have already dealt with injury on the at the wide receiver position. Brent Covey is out for, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks with a shoulder injury, and you already were without AJ Brown and Devontae Smith for a period of this season. I fully expect Anaya Smith to be activated at some point to this roster to prevent him from being eliminated for the entire season altogether. And then I expect Sidney Brown. I expect Sidney Brown to be back. I'm not sure in what capacity, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw him out there on special teams, just to get him going. I don't know if his role on this defense is going to be as big as we probably would like it to be. You still have guys like CJ, GJ, and Reed Blankenship back there playing safety, and I don't think they've been terrible. Reed Blankenship already has 2 interceptions on the season. CJ, GJ could stand to play better for sure. He's given up some touchdowns, but I don't see the Philadelphia Eagles making any changes at safety. If anything, you may see Sidney Brown maybe come on the field and due to an injury, you may see him come on the field in different packages, but he still has a lot of football to catch up on. But you'll likely see Sidney Brown on special teams, and you may see Anaya Smith on special teams as well. You never know. We'll see. So yes, we've gone through the injury update. We've gone through the roster update with the Eagles releasing Devin White. We've gotten into that. And we briefly touched on Robert Saleh's firing from the New York Jets. I want to tap into that because I think that correlates to the Philadelphia Eagles situation. Robert Saleh, along with Nick Sirianni, they were a part of that 2021 head coaching hiring cycle. Other guys that were hired was Arthur Smith. He was hired by the Falcons, recently fired. Brandon Staley was hired by the Chargers. He was fired, replaced by John Harbaugh or Jim Harbaugh. I always get them mixed up. Dan Campbell was also hired. Nick Sirianni, Robert Saleh. Those were the guys. Those were the guys. So Arthur Smith, Brandon Staley, Dan Campbell, Robert Saleh, Nick Sirianni. Those were, I believe, those were the five signings in the 2021 head coaching hiring cycle. And so far, Arthur Smith has been fired, Brandon Staley's been fired, and now Robert Saleh has been fired. So that leaves Nick Sirianni and Robert Saleh. That leaves Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell as the only 2 head coaches remaining from their hiring cycle in 2021. And Dan Campbell clearly is looking like the better coach out of the remaining 2. He's looking like the better coach out of all of them. But out of the guys who still have their jobs, Nick Sirianni and Dan Campbell, he's clearly the better head coach. He clearly has the pulse of his team. He knows how to get the best out of his team. He knows how to have these guys ready to play on the season. It's just that simple. Can he be a little bit overly aggressive? Can he be a little bit reckless at times? Sure, but Dan Campbell is a better head coach than Nick Sirianni. I can't argue about that. That's a grown man in the room. Whereas though Nick Sirianni, he's on the verge of losing his football team. Nick Sirianni is on the verge of losing his football team. So that's the clear difference between Dan Campbell and Nick Sirianni. One guy has the pulse of his organization. One guy has turned an organization around, has pushed them from the depths of Hades, NFL Hades, and have helped them rise to being one of the better teams, one of the more respected teams in the league right now. Nick Sirianni inherited a respected organization, and he did help this team go from being a 4-11-1 team to being a playoff team, a perennial playoff team. But over the past 22 football games, over the past 23 football games, the Philadelphia Eagles have not been a good football team. They have not responded well to Nick Sirianni. And Nick Sirianni, based off of that 10-1 collapse and how the season has started so far and how his in-game decision-making has been questionable, he's on the verge of losing his job. So when you factor all that into the Robert Saleh situation, the Jets fired Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start. The Philadelphia Eagles are currently 2-2. I told y'all a while back, the Philadelphia Eagles would fire Nick Sirianni before they missed the playoffs. And so much still has to be determined. So much football still left to be played. But if the Philadelphia Eagles lose to the Browns, if they lose to the Jaguars or the Giants, you're going to see Nick Sirianni get fired. This next 4-game stretch is going to define the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. So Nick Sirianni should be on high alert. Again, you got the Browns. Then you got the Giants. Then you got Cincinnati. Then you got Jacksonville. Cincinnati is clearly the most talented team out of those 4 teams. And Cincinnati, even though they're 1-4, Cincinnati has been very competitive in their last handful of games. They put pressure on teams in 4 straight games, but they just haven't been able to win them. They got beat by the Chiefs, they got beat by the Commanders, they got beat by the Ravens, they beat the Panthers in their last 4 games. So their offense has started to put up points, but the defense hasn't been able to stop anybody. So that Bengals team can put it on the Philadelphia Eagles when they meet. Can the Eagles offense hang with the Bengals offense right now? We're going to find out. But again, you have the Browns, the Giants, the Bengals, and then the Jaguars over the next 4 weeks. If Nick Sirianni delivers anything less than 3-1, you may see that man get fired. You may see Nick Sirianni get fired if that man delivers anything less than 3-1. Again, seeing the way and also look, the Jets are an impulsive organization. The Jets are an organization that has a hard time seeing the forest from the trees. And the Philadelphia Eagles have made impulsive decisions in the past. We're coming off of a season where they made a couple impulsive decisions, right? Firing Sean Desai, elevating Matt Patricia, all those kind of things, right? We've seen the Eagles make an impulsive decision before, and they could have fired Nick Sirianni at the last season, and no one would have argued with him. No one would have batted an eye. No one would have looked at the Eagles and said, "You're insane," if they would have fired Nick Sirianni at the end of the season. I was one of the people that said, give Nick Sirianni one more year. Let's see what happens. Now I'm at the point where I'm ready to move on from the gentleman. Now, again, I don't know how the Philadelphia Eagles are gauging this. I don't know where their threshold is. At what point will they get to the point of no return? Will it be a loss to the Browns? Will it be back-to-back losses to the Browns and the Giants? What will it take for the Philadelphia Eagles to move on from Nick Sirianni? And I'm not even saying that's what I want right now, because mid-season fires are really hard to bounce back from. Mid-season fires are not easy to rally your team around. They're not easy to do. Unless the previous guy that was in the building was so hated, so disliked, that the team just gets reinvigorated by him not being in the building. But they have to be careful how they approach it. As much as I want to move on from Nick Sirianni, will that hurt you more than it will help you? And again, what will it take for them to move on from Nick Sirianni? Back-to-back losses to the Browns and Giants? I think that'll do it. That would do it. You lose to the Browns and the Giants back-to-back weeks, that'll do it for sure. So we'll see. We'll see. But this Browns matchup, it doesn't get any better than this. These next 4 weeks don't get any better than this. If you can find a way to run the table these next 4 weeks and improve from 2-2 to a 6-2 record. And again, that may be overzealous based off of the way this team's been playing lately. But if you can improve to 6-2, I'll even give you 5-3. If you can improve to 5-3 at worst, 6-2 at best, okay. We can get behind something, right? We can roll with that. Especially when you're going against 4 opponents that have a combined record of 5-18. Between the Browns, between the Giants, Jaguars, and the Bengals, those 4 teams, they have a combined record of 5-15. Those are not good football teams. Those football teams are not responding to their coaching. Whatever maybe they're dealing with injuries, maybe they're dealing with ineptitude at the quarterback position, whatever it is they're dealing with. Those 4 teams can be had. They're vulnerable, but so are the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why it's so important to take this week by week, and you want to get that win over the Cleveland Browns. You want to be able to dominate those football games. That's what we need to see. We don't need to see you just getting out of these games by the skin of your teeth against teams that are clearly not good, not well led. You need to dominate these opponents. Deshaun Watson and the Browns, they are spiraling. Injuries are piling up. Now, granted, Nick Chubb could be coming back this week. That could be a problem for the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of their run defense. But again, you're going against 4 teams with a combined record of 5-15. The Cleveland Browns have been awful. Deshaun Watson has been awful. He's been sacked well over 20 times on the season. That offensive line is a mass unit right now. They're not getting any quality play from their weapons outside of Amari Cooper and sometimes David Njoku. And it's not really their fault. The quarterback can't play right now. So this is an opponent that you should have no problem game planning for. You know how they're going to attack you defensively. You know how they're going to attack you offensively. You know what your weaknesses are. The Browns' game plan is so obvious that if the Eagles lose this game, somebody should be fired. Their quarterback is struggling. So therefore, they're going to do everything possible to try to keep the ball out of his hands. They want to try to keep him from having to throw the ball downfield. They don't want to get down big early. So they're going to run the football. They're going to try to limit possessions. They're going to be kicking a lot of field goals if you let them. They're going to take the points. They're not going to overcomplicate this game plan because they know how bad their quarterback has been. They're going to try to make it as easy as possible. They're going to get him easy reads, easy throws. They might take a page out of the Buccaneers book and the Atlanta Falcons book. They're going to run the football at you. They're going to keep the passes short. They're going to be throwing a lot of screens, a lot of slants, a lot of curl routes, a lot of out routes, a lot of throws to the flat. Deshaun Watson's not going to be throwing that ball over the middle like that. They're going to run the ball and try to force you to play sideline to sideline because they're looking at that film, Philadelphia. The Cleveland Browns are looking at that Buccaneers film that the Eagles put up. And you know what they're saying to themselves? Hey, listen, this is a get-right game for us. We can get back on track. You feel what I'm saying? Just as much as the Browns are struggling, the Eagles got their own struggles too. So the Browns are looking at this as a game that they can get back on track as well. So the Eagles can't go in that game lacking. That's a fact. That's a fact. Do not think the Browns are just going to lay down. They struggling, but the Eagles struggling too. Believe that. Believe that. You know what they're going to. You know what they're going to do. We know the game plan. Is Nick Sirianni and his staff, are they competent enough? Are they competent enough? If I'm Big Fangio, 5-man front. Deshaun Watson, you got to beat me, brother. I'm going to force Deshaun Watson to throw that ball if I'm the Eagles. 5-man front, turn Deshaun Watson into a decision maker. Simple as that. Turn him into a decision maker. And so far, he hasn't been a good decision maker. That may be the same logic for the Browns. Jalen Hurts has not been a good decision maker on the season so far. So if I'm the Browns, I'm going to do everything possible to force Jalen Hurts to his right. I'm going to blitz him relentlessly. I'm going to force him to make a bad decision because he's good to give me one. So far in the season, Jalen Hurts has been good to give the defense one. So if I'm the Browns, I'm attacking Jalen Hurts. I'm going to be relentless. I'm going to be more physical. I'm going to punk you, and I'm going to force you to make a decision. I'm going to force your quarterback into a bonehead decision. So far, Jalen Hurts has been good for that. So the game plan is out there for both of these teams. Who's going to execute best? Who's going to out execute? Who's going to out execute the other? Because again, you want to restore confidence in this game. This isn't just about winning football games. You need to restore confidence. You don't restore confidence by beating the Browns by 3. You need to beat the Browns by 14 points minimum. In my opinion, I need you to beat the Browns 28-14 or some shit. 31-13, something. I need you to dominate the Browns. They're not a good football team right now. Let me get to some of your comments here. Ray Bailey says the Browns have a great defense and Schwartz will blitz Jalen. Yeah, the Browns do have a good defense. That's a fact. I expect that Browns defense to play well. The Browns defense is top 10 in a lot of categories. The Browns defense has been a top 10 defense throughout the season. They're not getting any help offensively. So I know the Browns defense is going to make it difficult on Jalen Hurts and those Eagles. They're not going to make it easy to put points up. That's why I fully expect the Browns to really lean on that defense. They're going to run the football. They're going to get Deshaun Watson easy throws. They're going to force the Philadelphia Eagles to make tackles, and they're going to bet on Jalen Hurts making a key turnover at a key moment. That's the game plan. That's the game plan. It's not complicated. That's the game plan for the Browns. Run the ball, limit the possessions, play good defense, wait for Jalen Hurts to make a mistake. JJ Irvin says we need to be run first. Hit the tight end offense early. Yeah, man. We do need to be run first early. If I'm the Eagles, I'm getting my running game involved early in the game. Let's not overcomplicate this. My man Chaotic Green says Jim Schwartz is going to come in here blitzing. We have to look at Lori for these coordinator hirings because Jim ain't done none of that when he was here. Yeah. So, sometimes it depends on your personnel too, right? But yeah, man. It does look like people do different things when they leave the Eagles, which begs the question, right? How much influence does this front office have on what you're doing defensively? Trey 979. He says AJ is going to cook the Browns by himself. Man, we need AJ Brown back ASAP. Eagle Rob, he says, so when you say it's not complicated, what is the adjustment? What do you mean? Are you saying what do the Eagles do to adjust? Is that what you're asking? Are you asking me what's the what specifically are you asking me? Because I told you what the adjustment was. I told you what the Philadelphia Eagles need to do. Let's see. Ace Boogie says the offense is underachieving. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Let's see. Infamous says, one thing I'll say, Hurts is good at throwing with anticipation, but it's also a negative because that's all he does. But against man, it's really good to do that. So he could have a game against the Browns. Yeah, Jalen Hurts, he needs a good game under his belt. He needs a good game under his belt, for sure. JJ Irvin says, the Browns won't lay down. This game will be a grind. Absolutely. Absolutely. S. Blunt says Deshaun Watson has been sacked 26 times in 5 games. If this isn't a breakout game for the Eagles edge rushers, that game might never come. Yo, facts. Facts. You know, we said that about the Atlanta game. We said that we've said that. We've said that about a couple of these games, and we only really got it out of one of them. So we'll see what happens. We'll see, man. It's hard to predict what this defense is going to do, especially when it comes to the defensive line. I know what Quinyon Mitchell's going to give me. You know, I know what they expect from Zach Bond. I feel like I know what they expect from Darius Slay as well. But that D line, unpredictable right now. Unpredictable. Fan of the Eagles fan says the operative word is run. Watson is an easy sack. We should be able to get home on him. We should. that's the operative word. Should, right? Should is the operative word. But we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out, man. It's a lot of pressure on Deshaun Watson right now. Can we add to it, or can we, or will we give him a break? Mob Deep is going on. He says it's bigger than Nick. Fire him, and all this organization will do is hire another puppet to use in their trash system. This current Eagles regime organization being run by the owner, GM, and analytics. Well, that sounds like a page out of. Well, never mind. I'm not going to do that. As Blunt says, we should dominate this game, and if we don't, then I'm concerned after watching Watson. Facts. He also says this could be Nick Chubb's first game back. I expect him to slowly be worked in. Yeah, here's the thing, right? He's been been activated off the PUP list, but he has a 21-day practice window. So will they play him? And will his first game be a road game, or will they wait? Right? As a matter of fact, what's Cleveland's schedule? Okay, so Cleveland is finishing off a road trip in Philadelphia. And then they go back home to face Cincinnati, and they're home against Baltimore, and they're home against the Chargers. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns actually don't play Nick Chubb, and they wait to debut him at home. But it's also a possibility he plays. But again, I wouldn't be surprised either way. If I'm the Browns, again, you just activated this 21-day practice window. If you want to be more safe than sorry, they might wait. They may wait to activate him for that Bengals game. It's a rivalry game. It's a home game. He won't have to travel to Philly. You feel what I'm saying? He won't have to deal with the hassle of traveling and whatnot. Maybe we might not see we may not see Nick Chubb. We may not. Solomon Lord says Tone was going to say a page out of Lord. Hey Solomon, man. Hey Solomon, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I don't know what you're talking about, Sal. I don't know, brother. Oh man, let's see. JJ Irvin says we haven't dominated anybody in a while. 17-13 type of game. Pick the under and the Browns with the points. Man, we need to dominate this game. That's the thing. We need to dominate this game. They need a game like that. They need a game where they beat a team by double digits. They haven't beat a team by double digits in a long time. Ooh. Let's see. S. Blunt said the last time this offense was fully intact, we scored 34 points. Do you see us scoring more or less? Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I may see 34. They may do less. They may score less, if I'm being honest. Could be less. And Boogie says we got too many pieces to be playing like this. We should be running through these dudes, bro. Yo, facts. We got facts. We got too many pieces, man. But it's a combination of so many factors. The defense not playing well or not playing consistently well. Offense not playing consistently well. They're not playing. They're not playing. They're not playing complementary football. That's the problem. My man Uncle Nate, what's going on with the $9.99 super chat? He says, love the content. The linebackers and the corners need to lock up those receivers in order for the D line to really get home. If Watson gets a bunch of quick releases, it'll be a repeat of the Bucs game. You know, it's funny, man. There's no way Vic Fangio can go into this game and not know what to expect from the Browns. There's no way he can go into this game and not know what they expect. They are going to throw the ball quick. They are going to run the football. You want to try to get your you want to try to get your corners in position to make a play on the football. You don't want them playing 5-10 yards off, man, and you're just going to let Deshaun Watson dink and dunk his way down the field. You don't want that. You don't want that. So yeah, Nate, I feel you on that, bro. I feel you. The game plan seems straightforward to me. I don't understand. Trenton Wright says we need to run this offense through Saquon and play action, bruh. Exactly, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a slight on Jalen Hurts. Right now, Jalen Hurts is struggling. He's struggling to protect the football. So we expect Jalen Hurts to be here for the long haul. You want to help him? Get him some easier situations. Get him in second and short, third and short, second and moderate, second and medium. You know what I mean? Like, they got to do a better job at getting him in better situations to win. They've been too predictable in certain aspects. You got to do a better job. Get Saquon involved in the game plan early. I agree 100%. Melly J says it's a symbiotic relationship. The D-line can't give Watson 3 seconds to make a decision. Facts. I agree. I think the DBs and the linebackers have been playing as well as they could play with that defensive line being as bad as they've been. That's the problem. That defensive line has been inconsistent. If the D-line was playing moderately well, this defense would be okay. The D-line has been awful. Infamous says, how many wins do you think is enough to win the NFC East? Ooh, that's a good question. As of right now, I'm thinking ooh. At this point, right now, today, it might be 12 or 11. Honestly. It really might be 11 or 12 wins, bro, at this point in the season. Like, I just don't know, because the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Commanders haven't played each other yet. Like, the Eagles haven't played the Cowboys yet. The Eagles haven't played the Commanders yet. So that's 4 games right there that can make or break your season. We haven't played any divisional games yet. The Eagles haven't. So I think this division right now, based off everything I've seen so far, it might be 11 or 12 wins to win this division. It may take that. I think the NFC East is going to be a little bit of a slugfest, man. I think it's going to get grimy. It's going to get ugly. Eagle Rob with the $1.99 super. Thank you, brother. He says, what do you think about the Devin White release? I don't understand it. I don't understand it because we didn't see him. We didn't see him play. We didn't see anything. All we did was hear stuff. We heard rumors, conjecture. We saw him doing little stuff on social media that we didn't like, but we didn't see the brother play. He was the leading guy in training camp. He was your top guy throughout preseason. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. So I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused by it. We'll see. We'll see what it amounts to. But overall, I'm confused by it. He was a healthy scratch 3 weeks in a row. A healthy scratch. That's alarming. Thank you for your super chat, Eagle Rob. I appreciate you. Private McClunky says, Tone, do you remember when you said Hurts told Sirianni, I told you we should have went for it in the Super Bowl, and that's why he doesn't take field goals? Well, that's a good question. I mean, not a good question, but like I understand what you're saying. Obviously situations matter, right? It's some situations where you just gotta you take the points, right? But like you got to take that with a grain of salt too. Yes, but I do remember that. I do remember that. And that did happen. I wouldn't make that up. I have no reason to lie about that or make it up. I s- I know what I saw, I know what I heard. I was right there. But regardless though, situations matter. And the problem is that Nick Sirianni hasn't been reading the situations well. He hasn't been taking the obvious answer, right? He's been overcomplicating a very simple game. So, I can't just sum up his entire decisions from the past 4 weeks into that one moment. I don't know if I can sum it up into that, but I will say that he hasn't been making good decisions. That's been the clear trend. He hasn't been a good decision maker. All right, let's see here. Let's see what else I got on the docket for you guys before we get out of here. Let me see what I got. All right, so we talked about the Eagles Browns matchup. We talked about some ways that the Browns may take advantage of the Eagles, how the Eagles could possibly take advantage of the Browns. The Browns are dealing with their own fair share of injuries, though. Let's go through the Browns injury report. So, as of right now, their offensive tackle, James Hudson III, is questionable. Jordan Hicks, their linebacker, is questionable. Jack Conklin, their offensive tackle, is questionable. Mike Hall Jr., their D tackle, he's out as of right now. Oh, excuse me. Denzel Ward, he's questionable as well. He was ruled out of that Commanders game in Week 5 after dealing with a hamstring injury. So a cornerback freshly coming off of a hamstring injury or dealing with a hamstring injury, we may not see Denzel Ward. We may not see him this Sunday. Hamstrings are tricky. When you're a corner, you don't want to play around with it. And the Browns are already a team that's looking pretty bad. So, what are the odds Denzel Ward pushes it to play? Who knows? But a hamstring injury with a corner, we may not see Denzel Ward, their best corner. We may not. All right, let's see here. David Njoku, he's dealing with a knee injury that he got in that Commanders game. Their center, Ethan Pochich, he's dealing with a knee injury coming out of that Commanders game. Their safety, Grant Delpit, he's being evaluated for a concussion out of that Commanders game. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he was dealing with cramping in that Commanders game. Their defensive end, Ogbo Orokonokwo, he's dealing with an illness, so he left the game early. But the bottom line is the Browns are dealing with their own fair share of injuries, especially in the trenches, and most notably Denzel Ward and David Njoku. We have no idea if those two players will be available for Sunday's matchup against the Eagles. If they don't have Denzel Ward, it's going to be a good day for AJ Brown and or Devontae Smith for sure. And if they don't have David Njoku, you never know, he may play though. But if they don't have him, hey man, that limits the weapons he can go to. Deshaun Watson, that is. And you're already dealing with injuries on the offensive line. But overall, though, you can't underestimate anybody at this point. You can't. As of right now, Amari Cooper is their main weapon. Damn near their only weapon. All right, let's see what we have here. Now, I want to bring up some names. I want to bring up some names of players that we need to see a lot more from going into this this game against the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to get into some names. Coming out of the bye week, you're going to need a handful of these guys to step their weight up. All right. First guy, obviously, Jalen Hurts. We spoke about this yesterday on the link up. We spoke about this even on Friday, I think, or Thursday. We need to see a better Jalen Hurts. There's no other ways to describe it. There's no other ways to really break it down. Jalen Hurts has to be a better quarterback. You can't keep turning the ball over. You can't keep spending an hour in the pocket making a decision. Make it happen. Simple as that. Simple as that. You got a lot of weapons around you. You get AJ Brown back, you get Devontae Smith back. You got Saquon Barkley right there. There's offensive line. This has to be a get right game for Jalen Hurts. He has to get through this game without turnovers. He has to. This is the kind of game where you really don't got to overdo it. You just got to run the offense, and you're going to win the game. You're better than the Browns. You're better than the Browns. So Jalen Hurts, my brother, just take what they give you. Get the ball out of your hands early. Kellen Moore, get Jalen Hurts some quick, easy throws. Help that confidence build. Get the running game going early. Moving on, Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is supposed to be the wild card on the Eagles defense. He's supposed to be their best player. You need a lot more from Jalen Carter these days. Jalen Carter hasn't been consistent, hasn't been reliable. He's given us one game of dominance, and other than that, he's kind of just been a dude. I'm not saying he's been awful, but we need more from him. We need more from Jalen Carter. We need more from Jordan Davis, right? You need more from guys like Josh Sweat and Bryce Huff, Nolan Smith. That entire defensive line has to step their damn weight up. You got embarrassed against the Buccaneers. You got embarrassed. You were embarrassed against the Falcons. You got embarrassed by the Packers. You got embarrassed. Simple as that. You got to get right. Too much money's been spent. Too much has been invested, right? The draft picks. Nolan Smith, you were a first rounder. When are we going to see? When are we going to see what that is? When are we going to see that? Josh Sweat, you trying to get a contract. When are we going to see the best version of you? Canadian Cat says Jalen Carter had one good game. Facts, bro. That's a fact. I can't argue against that. Anthony Thompson says this is the get right game. It better be, brother. Trent Wright says I trade Hurts for Baker at this point. Not an overreaction either. Hurts' running ability is half of what it used to be. I wouldn't do that. I think that's an overreaction. I wouldn't do that. Let's see here. Eagles Fanny, Fanny the Eagles fan says this game should take no effort. Then no, it's going to take effort. It's going to take effort for sure. It's going to take effort. Let's see here. Ding Bergang says, other than the turnovers, he's been north of 6% completion percentage in most games. Yeah, I mean, he's giving you 2 games, completing. No, I take that back. He's giving you. Yes, he's giving you 2 games completing over 70% of his passes. He's giving you 1 game completing over 60% of the passes, and he's giving you 1 game completing just over 50%. So. Yeah, I mean, the accuracy has stabilized for sure. And I'm with you on that, right? The accuracy has been decent, but the turnovers overshadow that. It's the reality. I can try to spin it any way I want, and trust me, I spend a lot of time doing it. The turnovers overshadow it. Let's see. Infamous 2K says if they don't got Denzel Ward, Hurts has no damn excuse to not be dominant against them. I agree 100%. I agree. I agree. Wharf says, man, we should smoke these boys on Sunday. Big game for Saquon and AJ. It better be. It better be. You know, we need big games from a lot of people. Like I said, I talked about Jalen Hurts, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff, Nolan Smith. You got to see you got to see those guys start to step up. Then Nakobe Dean, CJ, GJ, Darius Slay, and I'm out on Avante Maddox. Put Cooper DeJean in. I think CJ GJ can definitely stand to improve. He hasn't been great. He's given up touchdowns damn near every week in the red zone, but he has to be better in coverage. He's been tackling well, but he has to be better in coverage. Darius Slay hasn't been awful, but he's kind of he's given up touchdowns in 2 of the past 4 weeks. He has to be sharper as well. Nakobe Dean, he led the team in missed tackles against the Buccaneers 2 Sundays ago. So there's a handful and then Avante Maddox has just been a liability. Can't tackle to save his life. A liability in coverage as well. So, I mean, it's about time a lot of these guys step up. You got to get Cooper DeJean on the field. I don't want to keep hearing that Cooper DeJean is not ready yet. Get him on the damn football field, and let's see what he's got. As simple as that for me. It's as simple as that. All right. Let me get through some of these comments real quick, and then we're going to be out of here. I appreciate y'all support. It means a lot to me. K Order Green says, just because Denzel Ward don't start doesn't mean we shouldn't start the game with runs. Establish the run first, regardless. Yes, I agree 100%. I don't care who they got out there. Establish the run game. Too often you see the Philadelphia Eagles basing their game plan off who playing and who not playing. I don't give a damn who's playing. Run your game plan. Kyle Kokorski says, hey, Tone, check out the edge rusher from Penn State, Abdul Carter. All right, bet. Say less. JJ Irvin says Chauncey or CJGJ has been Jalen Hurts on defense. That's funny. Anthony Thompson says Slade gave up the Falcons TD. Yeah, I said that. He gave up a TD in 2 of 4 games. He gave up the Falcons TD, and he gave up a touchdown in that Buccaneers game. Eagle City says everybody running the ball more this year but us. You don't know why? Because it's been taking some time for these passing offenses to get in sync. I don't know why the Philadelphia Eagles are forcing it. It's a trend all around the league. These passing offenses, quarterbacks are throwing interceptions left and right. Passing offenses haven't been that dominant. It's been these teams that can run the football that have been dominant. The Philadelphia Eagles have been robbing themselves. Anthony Thompson says you better run Saquon these next 2 games, especially in the Giants game. Bro, I agree 100%. I agree. Fanny says if the Browns are missing their key pieces, Hurts should not have a strain to make deep passes. Short completions and running game in the running game should be our means to secure the victory. There's nothing wrong with throwing short passes. There's nothing wrong with them. If you're moving the ball, if you're being surgical, there's nothing wrong with short passes. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't got to be this team that just constantly trying to push the ball down the field. You know, you pick your spots, but you can make a living throwing short passes. You know, getting easy throws for your quarterback, getting the confidence up, getting that completion percentage up, trying to promote efficiency. Help them out, man. Just help them. All right, y'all. I'm about to get out of here. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for the support. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop. We got a lot of stuff on there. As you guys can see, we got hoodies, we got sweatshirts, and we also have oversized tees. They all come in different colorways, as you guys can see. The hoodies come in greens, the sweatshirts come in gray as well. The shirts come in tan. The shirts also come in black and charcoal gray, and the sweatshirts also come in an army green and black. And the oversized shirts come in an army green, black as well. So you got options. Make sure you guys go check out the Chalk It Up Sports merch shop. It means a lot to me. Like I said, you got options, man. Hoodies, sweatshirts, oversized tees, all come in different colorways, 3 different colors for 3 different items. So I appreciate y'all. Make sure you guys go lock in on the merchandise. Also, make sure you guys go check me out on Apple Podcast and go check the show out on Spotify. Every time the show ends, when the live stream ends, the show gets uploaded within the hour on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Maybe you missed the show. Maybe you want to catch it while you're driving, whatever it may be. It's available on Apple Podcasts. It's available on Spotify as well and on YouTube. So make sure you guys go lock in on that. I appreciate the support. You guys know the love is always felt. Goes a long way with me. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are also subscribed to the channel. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, Chalk It Up Sports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code, Chalk It Up Sports, for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show.